Hi, and welcome to Transforming Now Together, the podcast that brings you inspiration, ideas, and light bulb moments from each and every one of our guests on all of our episodes. I'm Janie Morris, and I'm absolutely delighted that you chose to click onto this podcast today and tune in, because each and every one of these podcasts has been designed to help you in your life, to create the well-being and the abundance and the opportunities that you're actually looking for right now. Please remember to subscribe, and I love your comments and your feedback. So every time you have something that you want to share with me, please make sure that you do put those comments in wherever you're listening to this podcast. And as I say, please remember to subscribe, because every time you subscribe, that helps us with this podcast and means that you're working together with us to make sure that as many people worldwide access the Transforming Now Together podcast and all their guests that we have, so that they too, each and every listener around the world, can get the inspiration, the ideas, the motivation, and those light bulb moments that you actually got too. Also, please remember, just go over to the website janiemorris.com. Have a look at all the other resources that I have there as well, and some of the episodes that you may have missed. And of course, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Oh, well, that's X now, isn't it? And of course, LinkedIn. But of course, please make sure that you do give me your feedback and your comments, because that's what fuels everything that I and my team do in the Transforming Now Together podcast. So sit back and relax, whatever you're doing, wherever you're listening to me right now, to this next episode. I know you're going to absolutely love it. Welcome to another episode of the latest series in my podcast, Transforming Now Together, the podcast. I'm Janie Morris, and it's my absolute pleasure to have your company with us once again. And in particular today, as you know, with each episode, what we love doing at Transforming Now Together, the podcast, is to bring you people that we know, that we've heard of, that we've been hearing from you as you've been letting us know who you want to hear from, what topics you want discussed, and several invitations of people in particular. My guest today is one of those individuals. Now, I'm very honoured to know this woman. I met her a few years ago, and we're going to get into that as we go through today's episode. But Vicky Welgraven AM is a proud Adnyamathanha Woman from Northern Flinders Ranges in South Australia. And for those of you who follow me, you know, especially for our international audience, you know that I am originally from South Australia as well. Vicky has an outstanding career that we're going to get into today. And the reason that we're going to do that is that I have had requests from you to interview Vicky. I was excited about getting those requests because, as I mentioned, I do already know her, but her career, her personal story has so many elements to it, so many seeds of inspiration that are covered and wound around in a story that affects us all in what she does, but also is an inspiration and a motivating story of how we too could live an extraordinary life. Now, her career spans as she's a very strong advocate, very passionate advocate and champion for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women. In January 2022, 2 years ago, she was appointed a member of the Order of Australia for significant service to women through social welfare organisations and Indigenous health. She's a board director and deputy co-chair of Our Watch board, and we're going to get into that because we really want to know more about Our Watch. Um, personal favourite of mine, she's a passionate Port Adelaide Football Club supporter. However, she's so passionate. She's a board director and deputy chair of the Port Community Limited Board, which is a part of the Port Adelaide Football Club. And we are definitely going to touch on that as well. In 2018, yes, the list is huge. 2018, Vicky was awarded the Flame of Change Unifying Support Award, which was presented by the amazing Rosie Batty, who we've discussed before. We're hoping to get her on as a guest as well, but I know that Rosie and Vicky have a great relationship, so that would have been an incredible honour. And 2015, Vicky was inducted into the South Australian Women's Honour Roll. We're going to ask about that. The list is endless. It goes on. It's one of the reasons that we have you on the show. Vicky, welcome to Transforming Now Together, the podcast.
Thank you, Janie, and it's so lovely to be here. And thank you for the lovely invite too as well, Janie. And also wherever this podcast is being, reported across this magnificent country we call Australia, I just want to acknowledge the traditional owners to whom may be listening in as well, and pay my respects to each and every one of them, and the elders past and present and emerging. And I'm also bringing this podcast to you from the beautiful lands of the Kaurna people. So pay my respects to the Kaurna people, elders past and present as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Vicky, for doing that for us. We really appreciate it. Well, look, let's just get straight into it, Vicky. First of all, for our listeners today, for our audience, could you give us an overview of the life of Vicky Welgraven before today?
Yes, I'm happy to do that. So, Janie, I grew up in a little town 330 kilometres north here of Adelaide called Port Augusta. So, holds a very special place in my heart, Port Augusta community, because that's where I completed my education, my high schooling. I attended Carruthers College there and completed years 8 to 12. My family still lives there. My mum and dad are there as well, but they passed away when I was at a young age as well. So it's a very special place to me, Port Augusta, and I still have some amazing friends that live there as well. And I just think like attending a Catholic school, that was my education in Port Augusta at the time. I think that gave me the platform because of my education background as well. And that also, I guess, opened other doors to other possibilities. So I just think education is the key to many successful stories and achievements of individuals around this, in this world and in this country. So also, my beautiful elders are still there. They live there in Port Augusta, so I always touch base with them growing up. And also, that's where I met my partner, Stephen, in Port Augusta as well. So that's where we met, and that's where we married. And then we lived together for a while, and then got married as well. So we that's where we met, and then from there we then ventured down to Adelaide. So we've now since been living in Adelaide for past 20 plus years. Yeah, so absolutely love here living down here in Adelaide. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic! So, Vicky, starting life out there. Starting life out in Port Augusta in South Australia, and then, in your young adult life, moving to Adelaide. What type of things did you encounter at that time that started to form and fuel up your passion and advocacy for the work that you do today?
Yes, and Janie, I can honestly say, like living in Port Augusta, being around my family, my elders, that was sort of like the platform that gave me, this fire in the belly to go on to achieve, to do amazing things. And the thing about it all is that when I entered the public sector federal, in 1994. That then sparked off my public service career because August this year I'll celebrate 30 years working in the public sector, 15 years with federal and 15 years with state. So just a real, my working career. That's what opened many avenues and doors too, I must say. And but growing up in Port Augusta, you had all the leaders, you had people around you that supported you and gave you, the opportunity to go on to do better things. I also think that role modeling is one of the key aspects of achieving great things in life, because if you can see other people around you achieving amazing things, it makes you think and wonder as an individual, maybe I could do something like that and, follow in their footsteps too as well. So, and that's what I chose to do. Like, my first position was a traineeship at the Port Augusta Skillshare, and that sort of, led me on to other avenues too as well. So one door opens and another one closes, but then when another door closes, then another one opens. You know what I mean? So that then leads to your life sort of destination, what you are, there as an individual to do. So yeah, working in the public service career. So that's when I started, when I worked in federal. That's when I thought, what, there was other choices in life, other things to do besides working. And that's when I sort of put out an expression of interest to look at what sort of board opportunities that would open and that were currently floating around, so to speak. So would you believe it or not, one of the interesting board opening was a domestic violence organisation in Adelaide, so for Aboriginal women. So that's when that opportunity opened, and that's where I guess I got to see the impact of family and domestic violence on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women. So in order for me to actually do what I do now in my advocacy role as a strong advocate for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women in their family and domestic violence, I believe that was my drive for that opening of that board opportunity. And I guess that was the start and the spark that ignited my journey as a strong advocate for violence against women. So, and a lot of my other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander friends and women that I've come across to, I do a lot of advocacy in that space, but a lot of my non-Aboriginal women that I've met along the way and the journey and what they've been through too, always say, but Vicky, you not only speak for Aboriginal women, but you also are a voice for us non-Aboriginal women. And Janie, that's really special and that's really unique too. So it just touches my heart when I hear that. So yeah.
Yeah, and to that, I think that was uh, for you listening now. That is how Vicky and I initially met, because we were both attending an event which Rosie Batty was at, but also our fabulous friend Jess Hill was there as well. And it was an evening about domestic violence, and there was a panel there and discussion on it. And it was the first event that I had gone to publicly since I had escaped my domestic violent relationship. And I remember specifically when you and I connected so quickly as well,
Wow.
as well. However, it did strike me that in our brief yet powerful conversation that we had that started our friendship then, was that you wanted to know my story. You
Yes.
wanted to know. You picked up straight away that I was there on my own, and I was, for a woman who is pretty outgoing normally, I was very reserved that night, and it was a great skill of yours, Vicky, to pick that up and also to wrap that up in a safe space at the time. And from what you've just shared with us then, in regards to, you know, all women, which is your passion, because let's talk about that now. The Our Watch
Yes.
that you're involved in, the organisation Our Watch. Can you tell my audience now exactly what that is, what it does, and how you're involved and what work you do?
Yes, Our Watch is Australia's the leading primary prevention of violence against women in Australia. So we look at stopping violence before it starts. So we're a prevention organisation. And also, I just want to say the staff that work there are amazing. We have also Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander staff that work there that we're always looking at recruiting to. It's an amazing organisation where everyone, including the board members that we have, they come together and we're just passionate about the prevention of violence against women. And we look at we do the ads on TV when Our Watch puts that out there. We do resources where organisations, mainstream, Aboriginal community controlled organisations, organisations that are working in this space, and organisations that are wanting to know about what Our Watch does and the work that we do and what resources we have available, so they can maybe adapt and look at the policies and the actions that we have put together and developed, and maybe they can also implement that in their organisation. So I just think in order to end violence against women, we all need to come together, because we are the solution to this problem, to this issue. And it can't be just one standalone organisation doing stuff. We all need to come together as a collaboration and work together if we are to overcome this, Janie. I honestly, strongly believe that. And our political leaders too, as well, needs to be involved in this, which we're starting to see a lot of them being involved in this space across jurisdictions, across this country. And, you're starting to see money being put towards this issue. And, and that's all we can do, is basically keep talking about it, keep educating, providing resources out there, key messaging. I do believe that education in schools, that can be another platform, another element where we can get the message across that violence against women is not something that we want in our society. And education is the key, I do believe too, as well. And it's preventable, if I can say that.
So with our amazing Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community, the women in that community, domestic violence is it's been reported that it is out of control, really. That's what I actually heard in the media this week, where but people, Australia doesn't know it like they do the rest of the reporting, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And it concerns me desperately, because we don't want domestic violence in any communities at all.
Yeah.
So why do you think that we're not hearing as much, or potentially being reported as much with women, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women?
Yeah, and that's really good that you've brought that up, because honestly, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, like if there is a death that may occur and it's due to domestic and family violence, sometimes the media doesn't capture those types of, those types of stories. And I do believe that they need to, because, regardless of what cultural background you come from, if you've, suffered at the hands of, as being a victim of domestic violence or, murdered and with domestic violence, then that's something that, we need to say enough is enough. Like basically we have to do something about it. And regardless of your cultural background, I just think that any woman that's died at the as a murder of this issue, that it needs to be called out, because in order for us to then call it out, then that's where we can bring about education. We can come together as a collective, come together as groups of people, and work together to look at what's working, what's not working, and look at solutions to this issue. And it just saddens me that it's just been across Australia. It's just been horrendous, with the murders that have taken place. So, and I just think education is the key here too as well. We need to, instill the education that violence against women is not required, Janie, and that starts with our earlier, with our younger men and boys, and we still need to have the conversations with our men and boys going forward, about, because that's how we're going to bring about change.
Exactly. Vicky, I want to ask you about in 2015, you were inducted to the South Australia Women's Honour Roll.
Yes.
What was that about? How did you feel about it? And what has that done for you in your career?
Yes, that's just been amazing. And with an achievement like that, sometimes you don't know who is out there hearing your story or listening to when you go and talk in large groups as a guest speaker, as a keynote speaker. You just don't know who's tuning in to a radio station that you've just done a radio, who's reading the papers. It just really intrigues me who's watching your journey as an individual, because as an individual you just think, oh, okay, I've just done that radio interview, or I've just done a piece in the newspaper, or you've been on television or something like that, but you don't know who's watching and who's hearing your story, Jamie. And what I've found is that when you are nominated for awards such as like the South Australia Women's Honour Roll, you just want to thank the people that sort of nominated you, because sometimes you'll just get an email to say, or a phone call, oh, by the way, you've been nominated for this award. This is the information. This is where you'll, attend this function and come and receive your award. And that what happened with the Focus Award, the Flame of Change Unifying Support. To this day, I don't know who nominated me for that. So you just go along as an individual, minding your own business, being passionate in your own little area. But at the end of the day, you don't know who's listening to your story, the key messages you are instilling in other individuals. And that then makes them think, this person's amazing. This person's just inspired me. This person has achieved a lot. Maybe that's something that I want to do. So that's what the South Australia Women's Honour Roll has done for me. But at the end of the day, Janie, can I also say that it's not just about me when you achieve great things. It's about in looking around you and seeing the amazing achievements other women and other people in this country have done. So I'm one of them where I'm humble about, it's not just all about me, but I also am inspired by what other Australians have done in their little areas of influence and spheres of achievements as well. And I just think, we've got a really great country where people are doing amazing things, so, but that was another platform where that sort of opened other doors for me too, Jamie. So I just want to say thank you to whoever nominated me for that.
Whoever it was, and I hope that they're listening right now, you're getting another thank you, not just from Vicky, but from all of us, because these type of recognitions,
Yes.
as you say, Vicky, it does give you another platform to, continue your messaging, continue your voicing of what really drives you. What does drive you, Vicky?
What drives me, I guess, Janie, in order to keep advocating for domestic and family violence, I've got a young daughter, so I just want her, that gives me the fire in the belly, because one day she's going to meet a partner, and I've always said to her, like, at the end of the day, as a young woman, you need to be treated equally like any other person on this planet. So if I can make my advocacy, you know, if she can look to me as a role model, which she always says to me, Mum, you're a great role model to me. This is what I want to do in life one day, is to advocate and be passionate about the things that I want to be passionate about. But you've given that fire in the belly, and you've also raised the bar for me, Mum. And if I can do that for my daughter and hear those words, it just touches my heart, you know, because as a parent, your goal in life is to, you know, be a great role model for your kids in this world. And if you've done that, and that's what she says to me all the time, then I know I've fulfilled my obligation as a parent. So yeah.
She is an incredible woman. She's an absolute credit to you. And you know, when we see you in the media and or social media and what have you, and she's there by your side, the two of you are you always bring her along, or she brings you
Oh
along
yeah.
to things, to causes, and to events, and it's a certainly, as you say, it's a great way to be with your children, to
Oh
be
yes.
that role model, and you are, Vicky, you are. And which leads me into what I wanted to ask you for the for another award of the lists of awards that you've been recognized for. Is
Oh,
so, Vicky, you have an AM after your name now.
oh yes. And
Tell us about that.
yes, Janie, 26th of January 2022 is when it was formally announced across Australia. And I tell you, waking up that morning, I remember I was given an opportunity to go and talk at the Tea Tree Gully Australia Day events,
Mm-hmm.
and I was the ambassador on that day for that day. So, waking up that morning, seeing it in the paper, you then think to yourself as an individual, this is really happening. You know, this is happening. So, and then from there, I remember doing my speech, and at the time we had the Premier of South Australia there, and we also had the leader of the opposition. So they were both there on the day when, you know, the honours lists were announced, and they both come up and congratulated me and said, well done on what a great career you've had, and prove it. So at the end of the day, Janie, it's not about like achievements and accolades, though. It's about what you do as an individual, what you've I'm about lifting others around me, Janie, and empowering others to be where they're meant to be, and also instilling in them that leadership is about walking together. Leadership is about walking together, not on your own, but as a group, as a collective, because that's where I believe that as an individual, that's what got me my Order of Australia medal, AM, because I feel as an individual now, looking back on all my achievements and accolades, I am one of those individuals where I've lifted others up, I've looked out for others, I've instilled empowerment in each one, not only just women, but into males as well. So they, you know, people from all different walks of life, Janie, I've met. It's just been amazing. Like, and one of those achievements is 2016 is when I spoke, did two little small sessions at the United Nations Commission for the Status of Women in New York, and that was amazing. Like, that's just something that you just think, wow, you walked in the, you know, in amongst the areas of great leaders, yeah,
Yeah.
of the world. So that's just something I'll always look back on and be grateful for. But to anyone that's listening out there, achievements is there. You can touch it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're passionate about something, go for it. Never think that you can't achieve, because that's not correct. Everyone can achieve something fantastic in this world. We just got to find out what that is and go after it, Jamie. So, yeah.
Always take a risk and work it out later, is what I say.
Jamie, spot on. I love those words. Powerful.
Take the risk, work it out later. Say yes, work it out later.
Correct. Yes, I agree with that.
Absolutely. Sport is a great community unifier. Would you agree?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And so I bring that up obviously because sport is really important to you, very important to you, in particular, the AFL. So can we talk about the Port Adelaide Football Club, your involvement, why you're involved, why you're so passionate about the club, and what do you think it is about sport that helps bring people together?
Yes, definitely. Sport is a platform that can bring people together, and it brings people together from all cultural backgrounds. People that come from all cultural backgrounds come together, we can learn off each other, and each and every single one of us from different cultural backgrounds, we bring something to the table that each of us can learn from each other's culture. Powerful stuff. Like, it's just amazing the amount of people that I've met from different cultural backgrounds. Port Adelaide Football Club has been one of those clubs where it unites, it brings people together, it brings people from different cultures together. And the amazing work that they actually do in the community space, Janie, I can't fault them for that, because they're just one of the AFL clubs that are just doing amazing work in the community, like the Power to End Violence Against Women. There's the Aboriginal Santos Power Cup, the Aboriginal, programs that they do in the leadership space. And it's just amazing, like the work that they do, the Australian Defence Force, and also our, empowering our young women and leaders in education and in schools. And when you start seeing like particular an AFL club like that, you start wondering, like, their heart is in the right place and they want to make a difference. They want to reach outcomes in the, wider community and things like that. So, and we've just come off our, the Sir Doug Nicholls round, and what the club actually did in that space was just phenomenal. So we did the march from our SA Government House and marched across the bridge to Adelaide Oval prior to the Power and Hawks game. And so we call ourselves Yataporti. So that's just an amazing Aboriginal name that was adopted to the club by a Ghana elder. And, it just unites people. And at the march on the weekend, there was Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal, people from different cultural backgrounds, and that's what the club's called out, uniting people from different cultural backgrounds, bringing the people together. But the outcomes that these programs are having in the community, our, reports that we do once a year about all our programs that we have, that Port Adelaide does have in the community, the outcomes that it's actually gaining and reaching, and the outreach and stuff. It's just amazing. So hopefully other AFL clubs can look at that and think, if Port Adelaide Football Club can do it, so can we. So just fantastic. And I grew up with the club too. So Port Adelaide Magpies days, and then when Power entered the AFL, always been a supporter, always followed them. And it goes deep within my connections to family. So had aunties and uncles and grandparents that followed Port Adelaide Football Club. So I guess that's where I came to be part of that journey as well. So, and passion.
And it's like hand in glove for you with everything that you do as well. And honestly, listening to you and knowing that all of the work that you do, both, in your career, but also with your family as well. I don't know when you get to sleep, Vicky, because you are go, go, go all the time, which is recognized as the direct results of the multitude of awards that you have been presented with. Vicky, what's your definition of a life well lived?
A life well lived, Janie, would be being happy, loving what you're doing in life, empowering others around you, lifting others up where they're meant to be, Janie. Leadership is crucial because it's about taking others on a journey, walking beside you. I'm one of them where let's walk beside each other because we're along the same journey. Leadership is a journey for others to fulfill, but it's there for each and every one of us to tap in, find out what your strengths and weaknesses are, and look at that and how you can put that into practice, how you can put that into life. Keep smiling because smiling is free, it doesn't cost anything, and it's about what we can do in this country to make it a better country for each and every one of us. Each and every one of us. Australia is a multicultural society, and I love that because at the end of the day, we acknowledge the history, the rich history and culture we have for our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We all need to respect that. We all need to educate ourselves on that history of our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and look at that. If I could just say one thing, be proud that we are living in a country that has the world's oldest living cultural and history in the world, culture.
Absolutely.
So something that we as Australians can be proud of, Janie, and let's all be proud of that, but let's also, look at sharing off each other, sharing our cultures, having a meal with each other, listening and educating ourselves on each other's cultures, because that's what makes us who we are as Australians, if I can say that.
Absolutely. Perfectly said. As always, Vicky, thank you for that. Vicky, I always love to ask my guests this question, and I'm going to ask it of you. If you had an 8-year-old Vicky in front of you right now, what advice would you give her?
Yes, the advice I would give her is that whatever your dreams are in life, tap into your role models, tap into your parents that you have that are around you. Surround yourself with great supports. Look at what's happening in the world and how you, as a little 8-year-old, can make the world a better place for each and every one of us. Music is something that people will tap into because that tells a story. Music tells a story. Art can tell a story of a person and an individual's journey of where they've come from and where they're heading and where they're meant to be. And an 8-year-old, the sky's the limit. There's nothing impossible. There's always something you as an 8-year-old can achieve. But I do strongly believe it's the supports that are around you and the people that are in your life that can make that happen, and the people that you meet along the way. So always be a person that's, always grateful for things that will happen, and always look at that there are strong leaders around you and in your community that can give you the tools for you to go on to achieve your things. And I believe I was that 8-year-old one day, Janie, and I often ask those questions too. But at the end of the day, if I can do it to sister, like everybody and everyone else listening to this podcast, you can do it too. You can achieve amazing things. The world's there at your feet. You just got to go out there and do what you love, do what you're passionate about, but also take others on the journey with you. I often strongly believe that.
It sounds like, Vicky, that your future self came back to you, the 8-year-old Vicky, and said everything that you just said, because everything that you just said as far as the advice that you would give an 8-year-old Vicky is who you are now.
That's him.
And
Amen
is
to that.
what you've so far achieved in this amazing life that you have created for yourself and your family and those of us who know you and those who don't even. So it sounds like your future self actually gave you that advice when you.
Exactly, Janie. And I just want to definitely, I agree with that. And I just want to say too, the support that my daughter and my husband has given me along the journey, I don't know what I would have done without them, because they allowed me to, move in the circles of influence to make me the person that I am today. So that's what I always say. If you've got great supports around you, by your family and by your husband and your daughter, then you've got it. So, and I also just want to say to the listeners out there that the more and more you do achieve, I must say though, there are times where you do get the knockers, but at the end of the day, I just, it's Teflon. It doesn't stick. If you're there, if you're passionate about making a change and bringing about change, that's all that matters in life. Look at the positives more than the negatives. Yeah.
Well said. Vicky, thank you so much I know you're so busy with everything that you're doing, especially with the work that you're doing at Our Watch, which is just incredible. And we could talk all day, but I just, I'm definitely going to have you back again to delve into some of these issues that we've been talking about today and some of the things, a lot of the work that you're doing. Do appreciate you coming on to Transforming Now Together, the podcast today. And thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done, that you're doing, and that you will continue to do, Vicky, because you definitely are an incredible inspiration to, as you say, all cultures, all men and women, because of I'm an eternal optimist. I know that you're an eternal optimist as well. And congratulations on everything that you've done. And so I'm just so grateful that you gave me some time today to be our special guest on today's podcast.
Thank you, Janie, and all the inspiring work that you do too, as well. Thank you for what you do as well and what you bring to this world. It's people like you that, we can come together, walk the journey together and bring about change. Each and every one of us are special in our own unique ways. We just got to find out what that is and put that into practice and make this world a better place.
Well,
So
thank you. I'm so grateful to have you in my life. And on a personal note, we were talking about this off camera before, but it's no secret that I am a passionate Port Adelaide supporter. So we're very much looking forward to sitting side by side at a game at some stage in this season before it ends, before we get to September.
Definitely. Hopefully it's soon, and can't wait for that day to come. So
yeah, looking forward to it. Vicky, thank you so much for being
Thank you,
on the
Janie.
show today. Really appreciate it. And if you've enjoyed listening to this podcast episode of Transforming Now Together, the podcast, as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you as I do each and every episode, then you know exactly what to do. All you need to do is subscribe, go to the YouTube channel, go to the website, janiemorris.com, or of course, wherever you're listening to this podcast right now, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, make sure that you do subscribe. That way, every time an episode comes up, you'll get the notification and you'll be able to tune in and be inspired and motivated and learn something special from the amazing guests that we always have on Transforming Now Together, the podcast. It's been my absolute pleasure. Wherever you are in this amazing, beautiful world of ours, I hope you have an absolutely fabulous day. And look forward to you joining me next time on Transforming Now Together, the podcast. I'm Janie Morris. Thanks for tuning in to Transforming Now Together, the podcast. I know that you've enjoyed this episode. Please remember to go and subscribe here where you're listening to this podcast right now, and of course at Janie Morris on YouTube. And please visit janiemorris.com and subscribe there. That way you'll always know whenever the next episode comes up for Transforming Now Together, the podcast. And of course, you can also go back and listen to all the previous episodes in the current series and previous series too. Also, when you go to janiemorris.com, check out how you and I can work together. I'd love to do that. If you've got any feedback or comments, please email to info@janiemorris.com. And in the meantime, wherever you are in this amazing, beautiful world of ours, I hope you have an absolutely fabulous day.